Do you ever think to yourself, what timing or what a coincidence? Coincidences, they do feel like a mystery, but there's a really interesting pattern specific to our circumstances. That's what we see. So, data fills the surrounding space around us constantly, but we rarely see it. There's a science to this. Inside us, we are constantly processing environmental data, from that hot cup of coffee to the feeling of opening an email and the sounds of the phones ringing around us. This is all environmental data that we pick up on. But outside, there are 11 million bits of information that flow past us every second. But we don't see most of it because when we experience something, when we experience a coincidence, it is our sensory systems that have picked up on it. A system gives that data a shape so we can see our environment through. We can think of it like this. The school system processes data, assessing student responses, and based on those standardized tests, we see a correct match as a 1 or an incorrect match as a 0, much like our systems. And we process our environmental data much like this within our own sensory system. So within our system, we form a pattern, a graph, a connected map of information that we process. That's what these things are. And it becomes a correct match, an on or a 1, or an incorrect match, a 0 and an off. But before we go any further, it's easy to overanalyze every single little thing. So you need to use clear judgment here. I'm not saying chance doesn't exist or that there aren't levels of probability that factor in, but like any system, we can all fall into the trap of misinterpreting the data. With coincidence, our brain systems get information and filter it through an A or B choice. A, notice, B, ignore. This determines the signal direction within our reticular activating system. So using a network of neurons in the brainstem, the RAS, or the reticular activating system, is making connections, weaving it into the bigger connected system within our minds. And when you understand this, you understand that out of a sea of possible events occurring, things that seem coincidental are really just where you are placing your conscious awareness. It is cast in that direction and receiving the data. The reticular activating system, or RAS, comes from the Latin meaning little net. And that's exactly what this is. It's like a net that filters through from all the data that's possible and decides from an array of data what you will actually notice. See, your RAS is your notice net, and most of the time you're not in control. It's what comes into your net. It's hard-coded function of survival and focus and preparation, but it also captures the connections that we're looking for, and these become our well-timed coincidences because we're primed and looking for those patterns. So are coincidences mystical? Well, we love to talk about coincidences like it is this mystical gift, but it's likely the net that's catching the patterns that you've primed it to see. Your brain notices what it has been tuned to filter for. This one I'm still studying, but from what I can tell, we impact the RAS, or the reticular activating system, internally and outwardly. The inward is the most mysterious of all. The coincidence, where you think of someone and they message you, surely this has something to do with the thoughts you are bringing into your conscious awareness, a conscious intent to align things perfectly. And we've all had those moments that make you think, whoa, the universe is on my side, but they're not rare. They're floating by us all the time. It's like a connection to plug into. We just don't notice them because most of the time we're filtering on the survival needs of the reticular activating system. We let the world dictate to us, the news, the environment, set our filters. But when you set your filters to the wrong things, your net catches a lot of BS, belief systems. This explains why people can go through the same event yet perceive it completely different from one another. And once you see it this way, you can't unsee it. Are you fishing in the right areas of the 11 million bits of information that are swimming past you? Because that's what it's all about. What you catch in your net is what it's all about. So here is proof in action. Right now, I want you to pick a color. Any color of just pick one. Now, what I want you to do is look around and suddenly notice where in your room this color appears. And you'll notice that it's everywhere, and you didn't have it in hyperfocus. And what this does for colors is it brings them to your focus. Now imagine if you can bring color into focus. What could you bring into your net to succeed if you've primed your notice net in the right direction. I'm Bianca Neilsen, and I think it's so important that we be able to use our notice net to serve us, because it is programmed by the survival mind. But aside from that, everything else that we notice, the patterns that we see in life, often have a lot to do with how we are placing our sensory awareness and how we're interpreting that data inwardly and outwardly. So the most important one is the inwardly. We affect our environment so much, but we can also look at those two elements, and obviously they're connected, but each of them have their own components that can be upsized, optimized, and made effortlessly in flow when it comes to life. There is a magic to this, and coincidences are part of this, that there is this channel of data that we tap into, and we know this, and the more that we are collectively knowing this, the better off we're going to be.